Hello there. You're part of the A Game. I'm Rob Ackenpora for a Thursday night from the Shared Universe Podcast Studios here in Jersey, live from Las Vegas. I can't believe I'm saying that, which is really cool. I'm going to give the lady an introduction, although she really doesn't need one, because if you watch daytime soaps for about 20 plus years, so that means she was 14 when she started her career, that she was on many soap operas, but of course the one that she's known most for, One Life to Live. And I can honestly say, after all the alumni of All My Children I've had on recently, and you do have an indirect connection to All My Children, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the list is amazing. She's gone from television to hypnotist to cosmetic line to author to doing a live feed on Facebook during the pandemic with her husband, Todd Fisher. If I've left anything out, I'm sure we'll touch on it. The legend of soap opera, Catherine Hickland. Hello. Thank you for coming on board.
How are you?
Very good. Thank you for doing
Me
this.
too. Really good.
I tell you, I mean, we have a mutual friend in Liz who set this whole thing up. So, Liz, thank you. I'm very happy we can get this lady on.
Best.
She's great.
Yeah.
She's been an absolute help in this whole thing. And for me, what's interesting is that I'm looking back on everything that you've done. I mean, it's interesting that you're in Vegas now, and the first television series you were ever on was Vegas. I mean, there's
my gosh, I forgot. That is really true. How weird is that?
Very weird. I mean, obviously you couldn't have predicted that your life would turn out to be, all right, I'm living in Vegas. I got this great life. I've got a great husband and life is going really well. But it is kind of weird how it's like it goes from the beginning to now, and it all seems to synergize and connect in a weird way.
Well, I do believe that that's how life is. I mean, I was actually on television for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And One Life to Live was the last 11 or 12 years I was there, and a great role.
Mm-hmm.
And when I decided to leave Manhattan and I wanted to come to, I moved to Las Vegas because I love it. It's beautiful and it's very, I can have all my animals here. I have 40 animals.
We're going to talk about that a little later.
Yeah. So, when I moved out here, I remember thinking Las Vegas, but I loved everything about it. And I had already started putting my stage show together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I thought this would be great. And I absolutely love it. So over 40 years, I was on daytime alone, and then other things, of course, as well. But I really do love my life. And I do think that doing a lot of things that interest you make you an interesting person. And, you're going to fulfill, any little part of you that might feel like it's missing because it's something that you dreamt about and it's in there, but you haven't done anything about it yet. So kind of that's how I got to this place, where I am right now.
It also takes a lot of guts, because I think what happens is you get comfortable doing the same thing, and you kind of said, okay, I've had this run, a great run, but I have some other interests. Let me see if I can dive into it. Let me see if it can work. And he did. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to kind of go away from the norm of your life, because you're an actress. You've done stage. You've done soap operas. You've done movies. So to kind of, in a sense, put the stage stuff with your hypnotist act and with the hypnotist, that kind of probably came naturally when it's like, okay, I'm on stage. I'm in my element. But I'm also doing something very, very different.
It is, but I did Broadway and things like that, but I did have terrible stage fright. And so, really bad. Not of course on television, because we didn't have a live audience. I had been working in front of cameras my whole life, but when I started doing live performances is when I really discovered just how much stage fright I actually had to overcome. And especially when you're doing something like hypnosis, which there's no script for it. It's you and 30 people on a stage, and, keeping 30 people in trance while you're thinking of great, funny things for them to do. It was scary, but I really love it. And I've been doing it now for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a mentalist, which I have a mind reading show, which I love. And I'm probably going to be doing a lot more of that this year because of the COVID.
Right.
We can't really touch people on stage and put people next to each other on a stage like hypnosis requires. So, and it is kind of a very physical sport for entertainment.
Sure it is.
So my mind reading show is really fun because Well, it's amazing for one thing to watch because it's unusual, and the second thing is that I don't really need to touch people to do it because it's mind to mind communication. So that's when I go out this year on tour. If the COVID situation holds,
Mm-hmm.
I will, then I go back to work on tour in July and August.
Great.
And so that's probably what people will see me do more of, unless there's some kind of wonderful miracle, which I totally believe in. So
We'll keep your fingers crossed. Get
yeah,
more updates, CatherineHickland.com, her website. You can find out more. And when she starts posting dates, you can find them right there.
yes, I'll
Since we're
post them soon. Yeah.
kind of going down that path, I'm going to put the soap opera thing to the side because I'm kind of curious. You studied to become a hypnotherapist. I mean, now we understand hypnosis and how it works, and I'm going to show a sample of your work in a second. But hypnotherapy, not everybody believes in hypnotherapy, but there has been a lot of proof that says this stuff is so helpful to certain people.
Yes.
How have you found that to be such an enlightening thing in your life?
Well, first of all, I quit smoking with hypnosis. So I absolutely believe in it. And, I have always wondered myself before that when I saw people on stage or if they were going to therapy for it. But so I decided I was a smoker and I didn't want to be. And like most people, you start smoking at, early teens. This is the profile of a smoker. And, there just comes a day in a smoker's life or any kind of change you want to make in your life when you go, I, I don't really like this anymore, but you've convinced yourself that it's a an addiction and that you've tried and I just can't and all the negative things that we say because the mind follows direction beautifully.
Right.
So whatever we tell ourselves, that's why they say what you think is what you become, and that's really true because the mind is so powerful. So hypnosis is really great because you're actually doing all the work. I'm just the guide because I know how to get you there, but the power is actually in you. And so hypnosis works because it's reframing belief structures that don't serve you anymore and training you how to train your mind to be something that's working for you and not against you. So it's an amazing tool. Also, it's fast. I personally don't want to make a career out of somebody. I want to help them and get them going, and so for a lot of things, hypnosis therapy is amazing, really great.
The first thing that I thought of is that with that, like you talk about the mind, like if somebody has like just nagging pains and they've tried certain things, do you think that if you can free the mind, use hypnotherapy, then in a sense you're guiding your way to, hey, look, maybe there will be less pain, maybe you'll find more comfort in your life. You see where I'm going with that?
I do, but the word maybe, it bothers me, kind of like the word try, because you're setting yourself up for failure when you even start to talk like that.
I've heard that before many times. You are correct.
Yeah. And we all do it, and we're all trained to speak that way, and we wonder why we can't get on a track we really want to be on. But so the question inside of that was, I'm trying to give you the answer that you asked me for, but
along the lines, if you could it work for somebody who has pain issues?
Yes. Well, pain, it's called pain management, and it does work. And here's why. But here are the limitations.
Okay.
If you're injured, like I work with someone really famous, and she had a bad accident where like an air conditioner fell on her neck on a set.
Oh.
Yeah, and really injured her, and she knew nothing but pain and horrible headaches every day of her life after that. She had gone everywhere, tried everything, and someone told her about me. So I went to California to work with her, and she was fantastic. I mean, she was a great, some people don't like me to say this, but she was a great subject because, she was open to it. She had been everywhere. It was kind of like the last stop. So I can't fix what's broken, meaning if there's an injury in here, I can't fix that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's a physical injury. But the thing about pain and chronic pain and people that are in pain every day, and I just went through a lot of this over the last 4 months because I broke my shoulder in 3 places right before Christmas, and I can't take painkillers. So I was having to do this for myself. And so what happened was I helped her manage her pain.
Okay.
And she would go days and sometimes weeks without a headache.
That's great.
And why is it that I can do that? Well, because pain is so, it just eats your life. Pain. It's very, very, when you're in chronic pain, it's like, oh my God, I just can't. And I get why people get extreme about it. I get it.
And we see how people, Catherine, sometimes will find ways to try to numb the pain in levels where it may involve alcohol, can involve drugs, whatever the case may be, just trying to subside whatever pain they're feeling.
Right. And if, you know, and I would never recommend alcohol for pain management, but I'll tell you, you know, I do think that I'm going to step out on a limb, and I do think that there's a reason that gummies, you know, that you can buy in certain states for medical reasons at these dispensaries, because you know, is because they work. And you don't, alcohol makes people get aggressive. I mean, I think alcohol is I've never met anybody really drunk that, you know, is soft and cuddly. They're always in ready to fight, you know, like say weird things, repeat themselves over and over, you know, just stuff like that. But the gummies that are out there for people right now that are in pain, like if it's not legal in your state, you still might be able to get it if your doctor will give you a prescription, because I know I can't take prescription painkillers.
Right.
So I use this. And you know, at the time when my pain was so bad, and the doctor said, I don't know how you're doing this without drugs. And I said, well, I am taking gummies just to take the edge off, but then I'm also using this to overcome it, you know. And so that's what's making me be able to sleep. So I'm not against people taking things, but hardcore drugs and OxyContin and all the painkillers that have the dangerous stuff in it, I'm glad I'm allergic to it, because I've seen people get addicted to these things so fast.
Right.
And so I didn't want to have to, you know, do that and then overcome something else. So I'm glad that I was able to do it. But for this actress that I'm talking about, I would go see her once a month, because that's what gave her the relief. And why is that? Because a person in chronic pain thinks this: I was in pain last week, the week before that, the month before that, the year before that. I was in pain yesterday. I'm going to be in pain tomorrow. It is, your mind is already, the rule of the mind is what's expected tends to be realized. So if you think that tomorrow is going to be horrific pain, then your mind is going to fulfill that. Your subconscious mind will fulfill that.
Basically, Catherine, if I can interrupt, you're basically doing a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point by saying, if this is going to be the way you think, then it is going to happen.
Absolutely. And, you know, and it's just really a weird thing, but it's absolutely true. So when you work with somebody in hypnosis, what we work with more than anything is, you know, overriding the rational thinking mind that expects things, and we override that and deal with the subconscious mind, where you can just it's a horrible word, but we call it reframing. Some people call it programming, but for me, it's just reframing thoughts that don't serve you anymore, and making life wonderful, you know, really is.
I think you made just a great sales pitch. If anybody was on the fence about it, no doubt about it. Good stuff.
Yeah, you just need to go to somebody really good, and you know, if you really want to quit smoking or change something, or I've had people come to me and say, I hid the family fortune and I don't remember where. So, you know, that's one of my favorites. I've had that about 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And so you regress them back to that time, that day that they were, you know. So it has a lot of interesting uses, you know.
And one of the uses that Catherine Hickland has was her stage show. Chris, if you can give me photo number 7, I'd like to put that up right here. This was sort of the banner that she was using when she was out on tour. And there it is. Comedy hypnosis, turning folks into chickens nightly. I love the tagline, by the way. That's great. Listen, we got a little video. I want to give a little sample what the stage show was like. This will be about 45 seconds. So Chris, have that ready. This is a little sample of Catherine Hickland putting some people to sleep.
Look at me.
Oh, God.
Okay, follow my fingers. Follow my fingers. Follow them with your eyes wherever they go. Follow my fingers, follow my fingers, follow them, follow them, follow them, follow them, follow them. Sleep. Sleep. And sleep. And sleep. Excellent. Just sleep and let go. Going all the way down, down, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
It's interesting how everybody's body just goes limp.
Limp.
Not only are they sleeping, they're like, it's like a deep sleep that's going on at that point. When you say,
actually, no, it's not at all.
I'm fascinated by the fact that it's like their whole body just went completely limp. I was like, whoa.
Because they're so completely relaxed. And so, you see what I'm saying? So all the muscles in your body, because I tell them, every muscle, every fiber of your being, just let it go, let everything just let go and relax. But the thing that is so interesting that you think that they went really just down deep asleep.
Yes.
Hypnosis is not that. What it feels like to them, what you'll understand is, when you're falling asleep and you're not quite there yet, but you're not here either. You're in the Netherlands. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, you're in the twilight, so to speak.
It's called the dream state, actually.
There you go.
You know? Right. And so that is absolutely where they are. They are in a state of absolute relaxation. They hear everything I say. They're focused more on my voice than anything. So it's not like someone could just come in and take over my stage and get them to do things, because I have already trained them to focus on my voice and me and my suggestions. But they are actually in a dream state, which is neither here nor there. But I'm talking directly to the subconscious mind, because the conscious mind is the judgmental mind. It's the mind that says, oh, I can't do that, I'm not good enough. It overrides all that. And so they hear everything I say. They know there's people out in the audience. They just don't bother to think about why they're there, because they don't care what people think. When you're in that state of mind, you just don't care. And actually, think about how freeing that is. It's pretty amazing.
Find out more at CatherineHickland.com and look forward to you getting back on the road a little bit. If it comes this way, I'll be there. I'm curious to see this live.
Oh, I'm coming to New Jersey. Oh yeah. I haven't been to New Jersey in, oh gosh, I would say 12 years or so. So no, I'm due. I am coming to
Very
Jersey.
Cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. We will definitely hook up then when you come.
Okay.
Yeah. Catherine Hickland's here on the A Game. Of course, another part of her life was soap operas that range from Texas to Capitol to Loving the City, One Life to Live. One of the more interesting ones, give me photo 3, Chris, because when I look back on Capitol and I look at where the world is today, in a weird way, I think Capitol would be an actually great soap opera to actually work today. I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh my God, we don't even need to cast it, because the cast and play right now is more than anyone would ever believe, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Wow. Our show was more about, it was based sort of on the Kennedys, that kind of, I think, my character would be like Joan Kennedy, the long suffering wife. But I think, I think Capitol would be really interesting today. But of course, we'd probably get canceled cultured. So it would, you know what I mean? So there's no point in doing it, because you can't, do it. So.
Looking back on that cast, though, I think what was interesting, and I don't know enough about soap operas, but it was interesting to look at how they casted that, where it's like you brought in 3 really interesting veteran people. Constance Towers, who was a movie star back in the day, was opposite John Wayne. So established actress who was sort of on the comeback trail. Carolyn Jones, everybody knew her from the Addams Family.
Yeah.
So, and then Rory Calhoun.
And Richard Egan.
And Richard Egan. So you had 4 very known people coming into the soap opera world. So right away, it felt like it gave Capitol like a real boost right out of the gate with those names.
Well, the executive producer of that show had so much class, and his name was John Conboy, and he was the executive producer of Young and the Restless, in its early glory days. And of course, it's still in its glory days, because I think it's still the #1 soap opera and full of great people,
Mhm.
but he just had so much class, and he owned the show, so he could do anything he wanted. And I think that that was really smart, because what he did was he pulled people in with, you know, faces that they had grown up with maybe or seen in the movies, and then
Mhm.
cast the rest of us around that. But I actually wasn't cast on the show in the beginning. It was one of my favorite shows I ever worked on. I absolutely loved it. I was there for about 5 years until the
Mhm.
end. I was a recast. And so, you know, I want to talk about that to people real quick, because you have to understand that sometimes no does mean yes later. And so if you hit a mountain, you know, it's like, if something's meant to be yours, no man can keep you from it. If
Right.
it's not meant to be yours, no man can give it to you. That is really how I see life.
Hmm.
So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, you know, what I could have done different, or, and what, like what you were saying before, it takes guts or courage, or I don't know what you said, for me to try all these things. And
Oh, sure.
I don't think that way, because if I did, I might scare myself, and I don't need to be doing that. We do enough of that already.
Mhm.
So I just think about a goal and focus on it and getting to it. I don't think about how much courage it takes or anything like that.
Mhm.
And that part that I played on Capitol that I love so much was a recast, and I wanted that part. I auditioned for it in the very beginning, and I wanted it real bad,
Right.
because it was a new show, and I love John Conboy, and I wanted to stay home. You know, as an actor, you're gone all the time.
Right.
So I was just really, really wanted it. When I didn't get it, I was very, very disappointed. But a year later, I get a
Yeah.
call to come in and read for a part. And I didn't know what part. And I went in and I read for the part. And it turned out to, and they said, "You got the part, be here tomorrow." And I'm like, awesome. What part? Like, what part? What part did I get? You know, it's just, I had no idea. And so it was for the very role that I originally auditioned for. And I don't know why it didn't work out with the actress that was playing the role. That I don't busy my mind with, because
Right.
that's none of my business. I just am here to do a job. And I want to tell you, I really believe that angsting over things is just a big waste of time and energy.
Mhm.
We are where we're supposed to be. When we're doing the work, when we're meeting God halfway, when we're doing all the things that we're supposed to be doing, we are where we're supposed to be.
Right.
And if you start to let your emotions manage you that way, where everything is a struggle, and you know, you start to program your own mind from things that we learned, you know, when we were younger,
Yeah.
and don't need it, you know, it can really get in the way. But if you just do the work,
Mhm.
mind your business, stay eye on the prize, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, it will happen, but not if you're in a negative place. You know what I mean? You can't go there.
It's interesting because when I was reading up about your part on One Life to Live, I mean,
Mhm.
from what I read, that was not supposed to be like a long-term gig. It turned into it. And again, talking about manifesting positive thoughts and positive energy, it's sort of like you were probably just sitting there going, okay, I got the role. Whatever
Well,
happens from here is going to happen from here. But you probably had that belief of like, you know what? It's all going to work out the way it's supposed to. And boy, did it work out.
it did. And that's another show that I was really, really, really just watched forever.
Yeah.
And I wanted that part. I was living in Italy when that happened. Or
Mhm.
no, not when that happened. I lived in Italy, and they were recasting the part of Tina Lord. Well, Andrea Evans was Tina Lord, but I didn't think that she was going to come back, and they were recasting the role. So I got called in for that, and I flew in from Italy, and I auditioned for it, and I was, talk about wanting a role really bad, and I didn't get it.
Wow.
And I said, "Oh my God." So I wrote the executive, not the executive producer, I wrote the, I guess maybe some months later, I came back to the US, and I wrote the president of ABC Daytime. And I said, you know, if there's I mean, which was really like took courage, because I'm terrible at asking for things for myself. I'm really good at asking for things for other people,
sure.
or negotiating something for other people. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
But for me, you know, it would kill me to ask someone to do something for me. I'm just really bad at that, but I'm better at it now because, you know, here's what I've learned. People aren't thinking about how they can further your career or your life. They've got a lot of other things on their mind.
Yes.
And it's not personal. It's just you're out there somewhere. So I wrote her a letter, and I just said, I really, you know, was thankful to come in and read for that part. And, you know, and then she wrote me back like immediately. I mean, I then told her everything that I would bring to the table as an actor to that show. So she was so impressed with my letter, because I really took time to write it, to edit it, to make sure it was me saying what I'm going to bring to this, not what I need, but what I'm going to, this is what I bring, you know?
Sure.
And so she sent the letter across the street to the executive producer at One Life to Live. And she said, if you have anything coming up, I want you to read this actress. And she knew who I was because I went into screen test for Tina. So they called me and offered me I think it was a one-day role. That's what
I read, yeah, that it was only supposed to be this one shoot and that was it.
Right. And and so they brought me in. I did my day. I did another day. And then I signed a 3-year contract, and it was the best role ever for anybody on daytime, in my opinion. It was just an amazing role. I'd never played anything like it. And so you see, it's just that if you don't wallow in the things you don't get, and just stay focused on moving forward, and stop trying to figure things out. Like
I'll admit I'm guilty of that a lot.
Oh, so, we are. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to figure out why something happened.
Yes.
Well, it happened. Yeah. We're moving forward.
That's pretty much what it is. You're right. No matter how much you try to get to the square root of the problem, it comes down to that simple statement. It happened.
Yeah. It happened. This is real.
Yeah.
And so what? There's something better for me. I love, there was I'll talk about it probably tomorrow night on my Facebook Live, which I do by myself on Friday nights, because it's kind of life 101, and it's really important because people, you know, we're not taught so many things. And also just, I would consider myself an expert on how the mind thinks. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to heal things. You know, and it's not me. Like I said, I'm just the vessel of knowledge to get you there, help you get there.
Sure,
but you know what I'm saying is, I just know how this all works, and I love it. It's just really fun for me. Anything that has to do with the mind turns me on no end. But
I was about to say, that raises an interesting question about the attraction to your husband. Was it the mind, that his mind, was it Todd Fisher's mind that kind of went, oh, I like the way this man thinks?
Oh yeah. I think I am more tuned into the person. Like when I knew him 35 years ago, we went to the same church, and I didn't really know him, but I would see him across the building. You know, it was a big 1,200 seat, you know, theater-ish.
Right.
And so I remember thinking, oh, he's so cute, and God, he's a godly man. Oh, I would love. And in the meantime, there I am, married to David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say anything bad because that's not kind, but
no.
You know, I was not in a good situation. So I remember thinking, you know, that I would love to meet a man like that, you know, who put God first, who, you know, who's funny, and I am turned on by men that know how to fix things. That's my big. I like men that kind of land on the more nerdy side, you know, like that's, and so, you know, I have no idea what I was doing with that situation. But the point is that I very much am well able to look beyond this.
Right.
And then fall in love with somebody who's an amazing person. You know, that's how that happened.
He's a very fascinating guy from what I've been able to find
yeah,
out.
he's a great person.
Hey, Chris, do me a favor. Put up photo number 10 because I think this is a great photo of the four people involved here. There is the lovely bride. There is Todd. And there are the in-laws. God bless them both, Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher.
Yes. God bless them indeed. Yeah, they're in heaven now. And, that was our wedding day. That was at Carrie's house.
Right.
And it was a great day, a great night. She actually delighted in planning our wedding. She had a great assistant named Byron at the time, and he and she and Debbie put together this fantastic wedding. And that was a picture from there. And it was maybe 70 people. It was not a huge wedding.
Right.
It's not small either.
Oh, intimate. I like that. It was very intimate, very close friends. And it sounds like it wasn't like you had to win anybody over. It just sounds like, okay, you walk into the family and I guess it clicked. And that's always a good thing when you can walk into a situation and you know that, okay, his family is loving me. I love them. Everything is great. And you were privileged to have the time that you had with both of them.
Yes, very much so. And, neither one of them are easy to get to know that, and it's not, because some people are very, suspect. And when you're been hurt as much as I think both of them were, you don't tend to just meet people and go, I trust you, come on in. It's like, just doesn't work that way. So I did have to. It took time for us to get to know each other, but I was so super close to my mother-in-law, and she was fantastic. And she said to me when we got engaged, she said, "Oh my dear." I said, "What, Mom?" She said, "You're very brave." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, this is really, just this family is not easy." And it wasn't. I will tell you that. It wasn't easy. Because that level of fame comes with a lot of things that people think, don't think about, and so, it was, it took time, and we didn't get married. We were together 2 years before we got married. So I had plenty of time to get to know the family and be a part of the family. And they were fantastic to me.
And I got a little something here here in the studios. We got a lot of little tchotchkes and everything. And I know I guess Todd could appreciate this if he's watching this, but this is one of our prized possessions in here and in tribute to.
I have to see this.
Yeah, this is a tribute to Carrie.
I have one too.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah, somebody gave it to me for Christmas. Yeah.
You have to understand the guys who own a shared universe are part of the Kevin Smith family. They were in Comic Book Men. So when it comes to Star Wars, they completely geek out. Completely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's only right to geek out over Star Wars.
Thank you. Well said.
Yeah. In fact, if you watch, with The Mandalorian and they're showing it and they're showing guys watching it, right. The end of it, and they just have the camera on their faces and they cry. They cry.
It's true.
People are very attached to characters.
Yes.
And, with that, it just meant so much to people, that those movies and the message of those movies. And it was kind of like that with Knight Rider on television. Right. A lot of men really related to that show because it was their, I don't know, it was their Lone Ranger. It was their, time that whatever chaos was going on in their life at home, they could know that on Thursday at 8:00, all was well. That's how I saw that show.
Well, here's a funny story. My normal engineer is a kid named Christian Cordes. Great guy. His father, Prince B from the band PM Dawn. And he was telling the story how Prince B was into Knight Rider. But Christian's like finding out that you were coming on. He couldn't do this today because he wanted to be here. Because he's looking and he's going, no, I don't know for the soap opera. Oh my God, it's the Knight Rider girl. That's what he was saying.
Yeah. And that's really another weird thing and an example of how our thoughts connect us to our reality. Because when I was growing up, Starsky and Hutch was one of my top favorite shows.
Great show.
And there was an episode where, which one? Starsky was the dark-haired, was Paul Michael Glazer, right?
No, he was, Starsky and Hutch.
Okay, well, the Paul Michael Glaser character.
Uh-huh.
He had this romance with this character that came on the show, and she was played by Susan Hubley. And she was so cute, and the story was so good, and you just like fell in love with her so fast, and you wanted them together.
Right.
And then she dies at the end, and you're like, no.
You feel like, yeah, you've been kicked in the stomach at that point. Like, oh, no, you can't take that away from me. No.
Just no, right? So that remained in my mind forever and ever and ever. And that's exactly what the character of Stevie was in Knight Rider. You know what I mean? She came on, but it was more than one episode, but still on the last episode where we get married and I take a bullet for Michael Knight. Well, you know, like that, she died and people were like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, and they wanted that because you can't have a main character on a series that's, you know, the hottest thing since sliced bread on television, and then have the character all tied up in a relationship, because, you know, that takes the fantasy of everything away from the viewers. I completely get it. I was really like just amazed at how alike that character was to the one that I watched growing up on Starsky and Hutch. That was just dominated my mind, that episode. I can't help but think that I somehow conjured that role, you know? Well, I did conjure it because I actually created the role. I wrote it up and then sold them the treatment, and then they assigned it to a writer, and they did an amazing job with it.
As you talk about memories, I mean, I think when people recognize you, I mean, obviously Lindsay Rappaport's going to come to mind. I mean, you have to know the impact you were making during that long run, that people can honestly, they look at you and go, oh my God, I miss seeing you every day on television. Oh my God. You know what I mean by that.
I do. Yeah. And I know that because I grew up watching soap operas. So I was, you know, a soap opera fan, and, you know, and I did get very attached to certain characters, and, you know, and so but it's such an honor really to be a part of somebody's life every day in their living room. And when they see you in person, you know, they would like sometimes shake or cry a little bit because they were overwhelmed. And I've certainly known that feeling in my life when I've met certain people and that I really admired. But it's such an honor and everything to have someone you mean so much to somebody and have that reaction. So, you know, I think one of the things about that is just it becomes part of your everyday life, and you don't think there's anything weird about it. And there was never a time I didn't stop what I was doing and just give that person my full attention, because I know that that's what I would have wanted.
Right.
And so, you know, but you must always, you know, there's two things you have to remember when you're on television. One is that don't get cocky.
Good advice. Good advice.
Because it's not going to last forever. And you can't attach your complete identity to what you do, because then if it's not there, who am I? People go through that. I've seen it many times.
25 years in radio, and when radio was taken away from me, that's exactly what I was going through for about a year. So I understand exactly what you mean by both. And that was the kind of advice I got early on in radio. You can't be cocky, because even though you think you are so-called king shit, you know, there's somebody else that can step into this role immediately and do the job, possibly cheaper. So
yeah, possibly cheaper. But so just do good, do your job, be easy to work with.
Yes.
Don't be don't be trouble.
Right.
You know, like really, you know, it's just, you can have a nice career, but you know, times are changing. And when radio shifted the way you're talking about,
yes,
I had a lot of friends that were DJs, and it was very shocking, you know, but you get pushed out for a reason, because there's something you're supposed to be doing. So the fun of that becomes, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What would make me so happy that if I didn't need to pay my bills, I would do it for free? Okay, so
it's funny. Right? That's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to figure that out. I think this is part of it because I know I'm not making money doing this, but I'm having a blast doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky people like you will come on and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. But at the same token, that's the interesting part of this last year. It has been that self-discovery of like, okay, if I'm going to do something else, it's more like, what's going to make me happy? Take the job out of the equation, take everything out. What will make you happy? And like,
what would make me happy to do every day?
Right, exactly.
And you know, when you're really good at something, I think, you know, it's just a matter of a pair of eyes landing on you at a certain time.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a lot of people are going through a lot of changes right now, and more changes are coming. So, you know, I do believe that you have to stay positive and everything. The hardest part for me, you know, when I broke my shoulder really bad before Christmas, was that I'd never been in pain like that before. So it made me understand chronic pain for people that come to me and say, I'm in so much pain. And before I'd be like, oh, gee, that's too bad, you know. But now I'm like, I got it.
Right.
What that's like.
You have a base to go upon now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, with the things that happen to us, it's best to just look at it and say, what am I supposed to learn here?
Right.
And you know, and let me just take that and you know, let me not beat myself up, but let me make myself better. I need to get, you know, at this, the way I think, the way I treat other people, whatever it is. And you know, just take your lessons, because otherwise the things that happen to us that are crappy, you know, are just crappy things that happen to us. And if you can make something out of it, you know, and that's how books are written. That's why books are written, because people have music in them they need to get out, and something happened and they were inspired to write about it, and the person reading about it is saying, oh my God, that's me.
And was that
read this.
Was that like when you started writing, was that sort of the basis of it, where all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I do have something to say. Let me start putting it down to paper. And then all of a sudden it takes a life of its own. And suddenly, hey, I got a book deal. And you've had success as a writer.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the thing is that when people talk about writing a book, everybody has a story. I do believe that. And so, you know, when you talk about writing a book, don't worry about going to find a publisher and all that stuff. My first book was with Simon & Schuster.
Yeah.
My second book, I self-published because I didn't want someone saying, well, I don't want like this in here. And, I don't want you to talk about God too much here. And, you know, this and that. And I just thought, oh, wow, you know, I want to write the book that I want to write.
Right.
And so my second book I wrote was great because I finished it. And it was like, oh, my gosh, I don't have to wait a year for it to come out.
Right.
As soon as I get this into, I used the Kindle, it's called, KDP, but I'm just trying to think. Oh, I'll think of it and then I'll let you know.
But there's now more avenues that you can take advantage of than ever before.
And they can print on demand now on Amazon. So, you know, people, so it's economical. It's, you know, you're going to have to promote your own book anyway, whether you're with a publisher or not. They don't do anything for you to speak of. You have to do everything. And so if you're going to do everything, then write the book you want, self-publish it. My brother has a great book that he wrote called American Dreaming, and he self-published it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so a lot of people do it now because they can write the book they want to write.
Right.
And here's the big secret, everybody, if you have a book in you. Mm-hmm. 3 pages a day. 3 pages. That's it. Now, some days you're going to say, I could do 6. By the time you were done, you were like, wow, I wrote 6 or 7 pages, but the goal is 3, right?
Right.
Because anybody can write 3 pages a day.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. Doesn't take a lot.
You don't judge it.
Nope.
You don't reread it until, you know, you're getting ready to start your next 3 pages on another day and, you know, kind of pick up. But if you can commit yourself to 3 pages a day, then in 6 months, you'll have a book. Because when you think about writing a book, it's just like this giant thing in front of you, this huge task. And most people never do it because they're so overwhelmed by the big picture. Instead of breaking it down to, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time, right? So 3 pages a day. In 6 months, you have a a book and you edit and you take out and you move things around, or you can go to Fiverr and hire an editor, a good editor, and and just that's how you do it.
Good advice from Catherine Hickland. I think we're learning a lot today, a lot more than even I, which is good. It's part of the game. All right, I'm up to the part where I do random shots. These are questions that come from anywhere. All right, today's random shot from our friends at Larceny. Cheers to you, by the way.
Oh, what are you drinking? What are you drinking there?
My tradition.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Now I got a few questions that it can come from just about anywhere. All right. Now we did mention earlier you've done Broadway. You played Fantine on Les Mis. Mm-hmm. So with Broadway trying to come back into the scheme of business, and we wish it all the best. We want to see Broadway flourish and get everybody back to work. Yeah, but if you could go back to Broadway and do any production, whether it's a revitalization, a current Broadway show, which one would you choose?
Which show?
Yeah.
Well, I sure did love Les Mis. It was a show that would get a standing ovation every single night.
That's gotta be
being a show like that is always just like, wow, because it's so good. It's so well written. The music is so fantastic. There's a lot of shows that are gone now that I think should be back. If I had to do a show now, I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure.
Your heart's saying Les Mis, though. If Les Mis could come back, that'd be like, there's where you, like you said, the standing ovations every night, the energy you're getting off the crowd.
Yeah.
Relive
I love that show. I loved Phantom of the Opera. I loved Miss Saigon. I loved The Full Monty. I love so many shows. And Wicked, oh my God, that show. I finally saw it about 3.5 years ago when my husband wrote his book, My Girls. Mm-hmm. And we were in New York for the launch. And he said, let's go see a show. And I said, okay. So we looked to see what was playing. And I said, I've never seen Wicked. I'd love to go see Wicked. Well, yes, that show had me bad. So I would say Wicked would be something I would really love to do.
I'd pay to see that. I would definitely pay to see that. Something to keep.
Chicago's still like a fun show. And there's new shows coming, down the pike that are going to be. Diana's going to be there probably by next year, and that's going to be amazing.
Mr. David Bryan from Bon Jovi. We wish him all the best with that. Very excited about that.
Yep.
All right, so we've heard the rumors, Pine Valley, All My Children, coming to ABC now as a nighttime soap. Mm-hmm. Now, this, do you think, having been on One Life to Live, could that be redone into a nighttime soap?
Yes, absolutely. I think they're going to do real well, too. Mm-hmm. It just, it's Mark and Kelly, I think, doing that. And they know. I mean, in my opinion, they know. They were there. They did it. They were actors in it. They've both produced things since then. They get what soap opera is, day or nighttime. It's the same. You just have to have compelling stories with interesting characters that are played by wonderful actors. And, they know how to do this. I have no doubt that that's going to go well. No doubt at all. Pine Valley, is that what they're calling it?
Yes, that's the tentative title.
Yeah, I really think it's going to do well. I think people miss it so much. I think they miss One Life to Live and Pine Valley.
They seem to go hand in hand, Catherine. They really do. I've seen it with the fan pages. They're almost, some of them are actually both of the shows connected as fan pages. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to do well. That's my prediction.
More on Random Shots with Catherine Hickland. Personal question. Is yoga something you do?
No.
Okay. The reason I asked that, Chris, could I get photo number 12, please? Thank you.
Where are you getting all these pictures?
First off, I should say that Buzzer, which is the rerun game show network, basically, was over the weekend was having some things. And I know we were kind of doing this, and I literally went, get me my camera. I'm literally waiting for something good. Boom.
You want to know something? I've seen a lot of people this week posting stills from that. Now I know where it came from. I knew what game show it was, but I didn't know how they saw that. Yeah, that was fun because it was, I think with that, was that Body Language?
Body Language with Tom Kennedy, yeah.
I became kind of the game show queen because, and I loved it because I love playing games. I love trivia.
Yeah,
and I
right.
love
And body language, you came on like several times. It wasn't just like a 1 week arc. You did several appearances on that show.
Same with $25,000 Pyramid.
Pyramid, yes.
Yeah. And so, you know, like, but Pyramid was great because I got to read people's minds.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Good
so
point.
At the end, right? At the end, when we were in the winner's circle,
right?
But usually the celebrity sits with their back against the pyramid, and the contestant gives the celebrity their clues, right?
That's doing it now with the $100,000 pyramid on the nighttime ABC. That's how they're doing it now. Yeah, absolutely.
But Dick Clark, who was the host of it at the time, when I was in training to do the show, because they make you kind of do a training thing to make sure you'd be good at it.
Ooh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And so I had to work hard to get on that show because they just weren't sure I would be good at it. That show was considered for some reason, you know, to be like the more intelligent game show. It was like very, I don't know. It was very prestigious to be on that show. Well, I remember during the training, somebody saying, it never happens, but if we're in the winner's circle, if the celebrity and the contestant decide that they want to switch places, they can. And that popped into my head the minute we were walking over to the winner's circle, because we made it, we won, and we were on our way to the winner's circle.
Right.
And I heard those words in my head, and I thought, I wonder if I imagined that. So we were at a commercial break while we were getting in the winner's circle. And I said, Mr. Clark, Dick, if you will, I was just wondering, is it something I imagined, or can we switch places? And he said, no, you can switch places. So I said to the girl, we're switching places. And she was like, what? And I said, and you are going to simply focus on the answer and let me read your mind. It was like, that's the way we have to do this, because the other way, I was going to be giving the clues.
Right.
So we turned our seats, and I was the one receiving the clues. And
and back then that was not done often. Now it's the norm on ABC, but now back then, no, that was the other way around. You're right.
Yeah. And I think I hold the record for the most seconds left over on the clock after winning the winner's circle. We became part of their opening after that because we won it so fast.
Nice.
And I was like, do you understand what I'm saying? We have 20 seconds before this commercial is over. I want you to give me a clue, and I want you to think of the answer. Think of the answer. Think of the answer. And she goes, okay. And she did. And I just plucked her mind. Boom, 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 boom. And when you watch it, it really is an amazing thing, because we won that, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, it was just really great.
That's something I want to find, because I mean, the only other person that's been that good at it was Billy Crystal back in the day. I know he held the record for a long time, but I do know you do have a record there with $25,000 pyramids.
Yeah, Billy Crystal, and the other person that was excellent was Robert Mandan.
Oh, Mr. Soap, absolutely.
They were both on Soap.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, but yeah, I love the game show. So that game show you showed was body language.
Yes, it was.
And so, that was more like charades.
It was. But now you know why everybody's been posting on your Facebook account. You can thank the Buzzer Network for that one.
I know. I saw it like 5 times on my feed yesterday. I mean, just popped by my feed, and I was like, what's happening?
Right. And then, of course, you see that phone go, really? Did you really go there, pal?
Yeah, no, I love game shows.
That's great. I love to hear that. All right, couple more random shots before we wrap up. Craziest response or reaction you ever got to hypnotizing somebody?
Well, I think that, first of all, that every time it happens, even though I know exactly how it happens, and I'm the one making it happen.
It's true. Yeah.
I will, every time I see, when I'm looking at people hypnotized, and when I choose somebody to do something on the stage, and they look at me, and I have them open their eyes to look at me, and their eyes are bloodshot, and their face is pink, and they're just happy and relaxed. And I can tell they're just 6 sheets to the wind. And I just think to myself, damn, this really does work. It never fails to amaze me. And I think that that's one of the greatest things about that is just, when I say do this and they do it in a way that is just so huge and so grand, or when I make somebody speak Chinese when they don't.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're so good. Or if you tell somebody that they're going to go out in the audience and kiss their wife or husband better than they ever have, they're more in love than ever, and they go out and they do it, and anything I tell them to do that they do exceptionally well. I don't know that there's even like a favorite. It's more like absolutely astonishes me every single time. I will never get tired of seeing that. Never.
Great. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, one more, and I got to go down this path. So, Chris, get ready. I'm going to put a couple photos up. First, we'll start with number 13. As we talk about the animals in Catherine Hickland's life, we have the emu.
Yep.
We have that. And then a photo number 8, I believe we have the rooster. There we go.
Yep, that's Nugget, and that was Boom Boom, the emu.
Okay, so we got Nugget and we got Boom Boom. All right, so we got
38 others.
Yeah, and 38 others. All right, so what is missing on this animal farm at this point?
Nothing. I mean, I rescued most of these, including the emu and the turkey and the rooster. And I didn't set out to have this many animals, but people come and say, I can't, or this isn't being abused. And, I just can't, so no, I have the room, the property for it. And so, it's my joy. I love animals.
How was Todd? Was he sort of on board with this at first, or was he sitting there kind of going, God, I love you, but really? All these animals? Seriously? Or was it just sort of like, you're both animal people, this just gelled, no problems?
Oh, I was a complete New York City girl when I met Todd. I was living here in Vegas for about a year.
Right.
And I didn't have animals. And he lived in California, in the middle of the central coast of California, on the top of a mountain with all kinds of animals, because it was a farm. He lived on a farm, a ranch.
Interesting.
So it's all his fault, not mine. But, to his credit, when I bring some critter in, from the cement pond, and I bring it into our room and say, can I keep this? And he has never said no. Never. So,
that's love. That's love right there.
Who else would have me? That's what I mean, right?
Yeah, but I love how you just said it. Can I keep it? Like going, there's a little 6-year-old girl in you coming out going, please, can I keep it? Can I keep it?
Yeah. He never says no. He never has. Yeah, that's true.
And I know you recently celebrated your birthday, so happy birthday to you. That was back in February. Congratulations.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem. I mean, she looks great for 39. I still don't know how at 12 she started her soap opera career. I mean, for God's sake.
65 and proud of it.
Again, bravo, 65.
It's all up here.
Obviously, it's working.
It really is.
It's working.
I'm okay with it. I have no problems whatsoever.
Amen to that.
And I have more energy now than I did when I was 20. So you see, it's pretty great.
Well, obviously, if you got 40 animals running around your estate in Vegas, that's going to keep you going no matter what. And obviously, and by the way, again, Facebook Live tomorrow night with Catherine Hickland. Check her out. Also, remember the website, CatherineHickland.com, to find out more about when she hits the road again. My dear, I look forward to seeing you in Jersey when you come out here. Thank you so much for doing this. This was a blast.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to say also, I own a company called catcosmetics.com.
Yes, I didn't even get a chance to mention
catcosmetics.com, and it's makeup and skincare made for women over 40 to make you look better than you did when you were 20. Amen. So give that a visit. And I'm just thrilled that I got to do this with you. You are fantastic.
Thank you very much. And as I'm wrapping up, since you mentioned Cat Cosmetics, Chris, I want photo number 5, because if you are looking for hand sanitizer, that's one of the products that she does have available on her website. And I like the fact that she's using the cannabis oil in this situation and vitamin E and moisturizer. So again, if we know that, sanitizer is so important these days. So something to keep in mind if you're looking for sanitizer.
Yeah, well, it's funny. We just happened to be making it when the pandemic happened. So we were the only company that had it for a really long time.
Wild.
And so it was just, you see, God is really good. Just stay the course, everybody. Stay the course.
Catherine, thank you again so much for this. Lovely.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this one on the A Game. I'm Rob Rappaport. Follow my Facebook page, follow my YouTube channel, and find out more about when I'll be back in next. Take care of yourself. Take care. Thanks again for watching the A Game this week. I'm glad you're still here because now I can tell you that I have a YouTube channel. Well, you actually may be watching it on the YouTube channel. So if you're not on my YouTube channel, subscribe to it now. If you are subscribed, thank you. Spread the love, share it, let everybody know why they should be subscribed to the A Game with Rob Accampora because you're having fun, right? Let people know. Please, don't make me beg.